You are listening to Mining Stock Education, where you'll learn from the top leaders in the natural resource sector and uncover quality mining investment opportunities.
Fury's had a couple really great drill results on Monday and Wednesday. We haven't seen the stock move all that much. It's fine. It's going to catch up. Those are real value adds to the company and really key success stories of what we've been working at for the last year.
As Tim said, he couldn't say it any better. This is going to get pent up, and then one day there's going to be a reaction, and we'll get paid for it as shareholders for what's not being paid for today.
You got to prove that you're doing the job that you're saying you're doing. And they all say that we like what we're hearing. We're just going to wait and see what some of the results are. And that's exactly what they should be doing. The tough part will be by the time you decide to buy the stock, you don't want to see the stock run up. I would really encourage people to look at it now and be ready to go, because when it happens, these markets really move quickly. And I think there's a lot of upside to our name. I've been in this business a long time. I don't embellish. I just try to tell the facts, and this is what I think is going to happen.
Thanks for tuning into Mining Stock Education. I'm your host, Bill Powers, and in today's episode, we will be getting an update from Fury Gold Mines. We haven't heard from Fury in a few months, but here to provide the update is Tim Clark, the CEO, as well as Ivan Bebek, the chair. Welcome, gentlemen, back onto the show. And Tim, I'd like to kick it over to you to start off with. You have a capital markets background, so you understand the financial side of this business very well. Perhaps give your commentary on what's going on in the gold market and gold equities generally, and how do you see that impacting the Fury share price right now?
Sure, Bill. Look, I'm over in London at the Mines and Money conference right now. We're getting a lot of questions about what our outlook is for gold. Typically, having worked in the capital markets at the year end, you see a lot of sort of deer in headlights kind of look at what people want to do next year. They're sitting on a lot of profit from the last couple of years. I think right now there's concern about where the jobs are going, as well as where inflation's going, and also how to manage your tax benefit and with your investments. As an example, I know a bunch of investors are starting to sell their high valuation stocks right now. They think taxes are going to be higher next year, and they're going to be sitting on a lot of cash heading into year end. But they're focused on that right now. And not sitting here thinking about where they want to put their money next year. Typically, this is very seasonal at the end of the year, and what the plans are for investors, both at the retail and also at the institutional level. And as they get into January, February, we typically see a seasonal bump in gold prices, typically. Right now, we're looking at 3 to 4% inflation. This is definitely higher than they'd like to be in the U.S. They've talked about it being transitory. I don't think so. No one does. I think a lot of the gas prices, oil prices, wages moving up. You're going to get inflation, and people are going to start to look at hard assets going into next year. And again, they're going to be sitting on a lot of cash. I've always been well aware of when people start doing work on gold stocks, mining and whatnot. And they're doing a lot of work on the banking side with M&A. They're also doing a lot of research and analysis right now. We just haven't seen them jump into the market and start buying. I think that there's going to be a pent-up move. And typically when it does happen, it happens very quickly. As an example, Fury's had a couple really great drill results on Monday and Wednesday. We haven't seen the stock move all that much. It's fine. It's going to catch up. Those are real value adds to the company and really key success stories of what we've been working at for the last year. Fury's been executing on the game plan that we've talked about, not only in following up on our assay results, but also trying to clean up the story, simplify it, monetize some of our assets, and just make a better game plan for next year. I think we're really well positioned to head into January, February. I would encourage investors to really sit down and do the work now.
So you have analysts that cover your stock. Right now, we're at about 81 cents. As you mentioned, the two last press releases aren't really being reflected in the share price, in your opinion. What are the analysts forecasting? You're at 81 cents now, Canadian.
Well, we've got a couple analysts right now. I know Beacon is looking at $3.50. We have another at over $2. And it's basically what they're trying to do is we did have a issuing of shares back in October. So they're making some small tweaks and adjustments. There is some ounces that are being added into our portfolio. But again, when you look at these drill results, what it does is you can add some ounces in the model, but it doesn't tell you how big a deal it was for us. getting out on the Western Hinge and of Eclair, and also having drill results up in Nunavut, really open up our resources. This is what corporates are looking for, and this is why they're interested in following our story, because our resources can get a lot bigger, and this is what exactly we've been hoping for. You're just not going to see it reflected in the models until we actually do more drilling around those initial holes.
Ivan, at the Hinge zone, you announced 9.36 grams per ton gold over 3 meters. And you mentioned to me offline that Hinge zones can get big quickly, like what we saw with Great Bear, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at Committee Bay, the best hole drilled there, 39 meters at 12 grams, it's in a Hinge. If you look at Eau Claire, no one ever drilled this Hinge before. We started by drilling a meter of 12 grams and 8 meters of a gram, which gave us grade and width, but they weren't together until we announced that hole of the 3 of plus 9 grams. So now we have grade and width together on the Hinge, which it's early, and you got to look at the odds of hitting it for the first time. Imagine what 10 or 15 holes do into the Hinge. And as you've said there, they get big really quick when you start drilling them, and a lot of grade can show up. And it's incredibly awesome that we're seeing the grade right now. So I think it's a huge, huge plus for the project. But going over to Committee Bay, and this one, as you know, and everyone listening knows, it's been a 5-year path towards this drill hole. And it came as a complete surprise. We were targeting a conductor, and on the way down, we hit a very unique rock unit that actually carries a lot of high grade in the Three Bluffs deposit. And what we're identifying this as, and more drilling is determined, is going to have to determine this specifically, but we're seeing another fold or another hinge. And so if you look at the entire Three Bluffs deposit and you look at the average width of all that high grade, it's about 3 meters, except for in the Hinge, you got the 39 meters at 12, and now we have 10 of almost 14 grams per ton. So it looks like there's an actual normal Hinge, the big Hinge we all know about, and there's a second one right beside it down below it. And this is massive. This could really open this up and give us that kind of ounce endowment that we've been looking for. And the grade is just spectacular. So for me, it's a home run as a first hole. But what Tim said is very true. We're going to have to go drill a few more holes here to really bonify this discovery. And we're still waiting on some of the holes from Raven. So there's still more that could come out of Committee Bay. And we're also waiting on holes from Snake Lake. It's been a tough year, and tough year. I'm not even talking about Fury's share price in the actual gold sector. It's been really challenging. Gold's been declining for most of the year. We've hit a really, really good point of tax loss selling, as Tim pointed. The sentiment is really flat, but fundamentals are way ahead of our share price. And that's a really great thing to say as a large shareholder and also as an executive of a company that's trying to drive value for shareholders. So I think, as Tim said, we have a huge first quarter ahead in front of us. I think that the things we've hoped to happen from the beginning, they're finally happening. We're at 90 days to get these assay results back, which is a record for me. But a lot more results to come, and we're looking at ways to mitigate that wait time in the new year. And I think the best way to do it is to have more drills turning, so you have more results coming. But spectacular outcome so far. We're not done with the good news out of Fury yet this quarter, and we're looking forward to next year being a huge year. The team and Tim and the leadership he's brought in is really, really strengthened our culture. I've never seen more unity and enjoyment with people working together. It's kind of that really unique, euphoric energy when you start to make a discovery. And Tim's done a great job to rally the troops and get everyone on the same page. So I feel we're running really efficient, really smooth, and we're starting to see the holes we've been looking for half a decade.
Tim, I was reading over your presentation this morning before this conversation, and on page 17, it said you're doing a portfolio review underway to determine strategic options for non-core assets. Is there anything you can elaborate on regarding that statement?
Well, I mean, all I got to say is we've been trying to pivot and clean this up and make this a more efficient company, and not only in spending, but just how to portray it back to investors as you want to do. And look, monetizing Homestake has been something we've been trying to do for a while. We're working through that process. We're very confident that we're going to get there at some point. And what investors should look at is this is not a company that you're going to get value just from the drill hole. It's being thoughtful on how to manage your portfolio overall, which would be developing relationships with companies like Newmont and the joint venture, to monetizing in a way that you work with others at Homestake, looking at new projects up in Quebec, and everything's on the table. And this is what's, as one investor said to me, is that you've got a lot of options going on, and if you just get one, you're in great shape. I think we're on the pathway to get more than one. And having these great assay results come through is just the starting point. Look, I left a great job this summer to come here because I could see the pathway and I can see the backdrop in terms of working with Ivan and his team out in Vancouver. We've got an A+ group of geologists. And culturally, Ivan's right. We're talking on a daily basis with all our guys. The geologists are more excited. People are having a lot of input and understanding how we manage and match up where you drill and how you raise money to be effective. It's harder than it looks, but I think the hard work is paying off, and I think we're going to have a great year next year.
Ivan, is there anything you want to say about the Eleanor South JV? Is there any update there you could provide?
Yeah, we had a really, really impressive 5 kilometer strong geochem 1 gram in tills, target, and we went to go infill it, and those results are just starting to come in as we speak here today. And so those results have come out. It's 11 kilometers from Eleanor, and that's a pretty awesome target to go and if you get success there, it's obviously there's an end game for that asset, but it's coming alive. That's coming alive. Percival results are coming in here shortly. There's some huge holes drilled there. People kind of missed the orientation of the structure, and they didn't have a way to track the footprint of how big Percival could be. And so the guys did like a 6 kilometer, intense biochem, geochem, surface sample program basically. And we're going to get those results too. So I think one thing that's really coming into this story is we're simplifying it. And this is at the point of Tim's made. He came in as a director and he looked at everything, and has a lot going on here, guys. And it's tough to pitch, but we're finding out what's really going to drive value, and we're going to hone in on those things. We'll have all the results back by year end. It looks like maybe early January, some will trickle in, but it'll be go time. Come the first quarter, we actually now know where we're going to go. And your comment at the beginning, we haven't been out here doing interviews for a few months, and that never helps the stock when we don't communicate. But we had to buckle down. We had to right the ship. We had a big transformational event in August with Tim coming on board, and it's working out better than I thought it would. And I'm really impressed by how everything's going. But most importantly, we're starting to hit the holes that are going to make a huge difference for us. It's just a little bit of biting the belt here with the tax loss selling, and the confusion of why it hasn't gone up is such a great result. As Tim said, he couldn't say it any better. This is going to get pent up, and then one day there's going to be a reaction, and we'll get paid for it as shareholders for what's not being paid for today. Unfortunately, we're a public company in a public market that's really soft, but when it goes green again, I think we're going to do extremely well, and we're going to close that gap very fast.
Tim, in conclusion, you're in London meeting with investors. Are there any key questions investors are asking you that we didn't cover in today's interview?
No, I think they saw the results that came out, and the results are what they are. What I think a lot of investors are really thinking about is, what's your strategy? How are you processing and acting on that strategy? We've been talking about it for a while, and now we're starting to prove it. We're getting drill results. We're going to have hopefully some news out here by year end that's going to be really encouraging. And I think once you got to prove that you're doing the job that you're saying you're doing. And they all say that we like what we're hearing. We're just going to wait and see what some of the results are. And that's exactly what they should be doing. The tough part will be, by the time you decide to buy the stock, you don't want to see the stock run up. I would really encourage people to look at it now and be ready to go, because when it happens, these markets really move quickly. And I think there's a lot of upside to our name. I've been in this business a long time. I don't embellish. I just try to tell the facts, and this is what I think is going to happen.
All right. The company again is Fury Gold Mines. Website is furygoldmines.com. Ticker symbol is super simple, FURY, in Toronto or in New York on the big boards. Gentlemen, thank you for this update.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.